overflows and trees growing on the roof of our departments. And all the Democrats and the union people were squawking that this private-public partnership was going to, you know, tear down the institution, the public institutions. We even had Republican officials saying they wanted to build up the public institutions. And
Mr. Franco, sir, what would you do specifically to help bridge the divide, or perhaps the perceived divide, between our state Republican Party and some of our ward and regional parties? What would be a formula or a solution to rectifying some of the perceived gap between those organizations? What would you do as chairperson?
There's gaps everywhere, and I can identify them very quickly. All I have to do is go into a region, go into a city or town with the paperwork and look at what's not being done, because I've done it myself. I think the structure on paper or on a PowerPoint presentation would look good. City and town committees, wards and so forth, ward committees, regional committees, maybe 6 regional committees, and then the state program. But a bottom-up structure. Okay, right now we don't have we have so many gaps. It's just unbelievable. It's going to take so much work, and I think we're going to have to do a lot of quiet work behind the scenes. The information and what we do is not for public consumption, and it's not the Democrats' business. We need to do it behind the scenes. I'm willing to do that, Harry Truman style, driving across the state to make it happen. And I'll do it not for free, because I will get a salary if I land this job here, and I will have transportation paid for too, because you get nothing for nothing, let me tell you. All right? If you think somebody's going to work for free to do this job. Yeah, I'm sorry.
One question. Were you supportive of bringing United Way in?
United Waste.
Oh, Waste.
Yeah, United. Yeah, United. I'm not a big supporter of United Way, by the way.
But one question. The only thing that bothered me, you said is you prefer someone. I know Terry Healy. You preferred her to say, if I didn't misunderstand you, not to say that she was pro-choice. I mean, how do you answer a question if you're asked directly, are you pro-what? Do you plan not to answer that question?
She had radio advertising, blasting over the airwaves that she paid big dollars for, running around the state saying she was pro-choice, just like Deval Patrick, and she was pro these other things like Deval Patrick too. Why vote? When you have a Democrat running, why not just vote for the Democrat?
Personally, I think you're allowed to support any candidate that you choose for whatever reasons you choose. But when I see leadership, I think of somebody who inspires trust and somebody who's able to pick up pieces and push things forward. As the leader of the Republican Party, how would you be able to say that you're not going to support a Republican candidate based on certain issues that they might not agree with you on? The social issues that you brought up.
Individually, you have that choice.
Right, but as chairman, you have a responsibility to people to support our candidate.
Okay, is that right? Well, I've been a candidate several times since 2002, and like I said, I didn't get much support from the state party.
That doesn't mean it was right.
Right, but I think we need to encourage our candidates to run on Republican principles that are very important, and those are the right-of-center issues: limited government, limited taxation, small government, efficient government. Pioneer Institute espouses a lot of these programs and initiatives for school choice and those kinds of things, which I'm totally in agreement with, and also the social conservative issues. We should encourage our candidates to run like that. If they don't want to do that, that's fine. That's quite all right. They should be able to get support in pockets of the Republican Party. I wouldn't be somebody that would run and intervene and say, no, you can't support them. As a leader, you have to articulate things. You have to have a message, and you can't be tyrannical about it. You know what I'm saying? It's Joe.
Hey, what do you say? This is a hard-working guy, because every time we went out there, it was on White Street, High Street, on Route 5 and Colville to West Smithfield. You and the people always hold this time. So I commend you as a to go back to Holyoke, because you know I know the area a little bit.
Right.
We have an outstanding police chief, Chief Scott, and he's a registered Republican. We have a high minority, Hispanic minority, in the city of Holyoke, and they accuse that police chief of being a racist. Now, I'm not going to, you can address the situation. How can we get people of color or people of different ethnic origins to come into our party? Because it's a growing base, and as we look at the cities today, the Brockton lines, you mentioned Worcester, Springfield, larger and larger is becoming Hispanic and non-Caucasian. How can we bring those people to come down and not call you a racist simply because you're a Republican? You can tell them what Chief Scott's all about.
Right. Yeah, well, Chief Scott has a very difficult job, and I support him. Like I said, I've run for about 5 or 6 years now, different seats and so forth, building the grassroots, and people know who I am. I'm a conservative Republican. I'm proud to be a Republican. Really not the way the Republican Party is today, but how I envision it to be in the future. And I've never been called a racist, running hardline, in some cases when I have to. Or just answering the questions matter-of-factly about where I stand on the values and principles and these kinds of things. I think the best way to bring people into the Republican Party from across the community, no matter what nationality they are, what gender, is to bring value to them, okay? Free of charge if you can. In Ward 5, the Ward 5 Republicans, we had our own committee. We kind of had to do things autonomously because we were suppressed by other Republicans and other committees that didn't like the kind of stuff that we did because they weren't really working that hard, okay? And it probably embarrassed them. But what we did is we had public forums